Hello everyone, and a warm welcome from Visaman UK again. Hope you guys are doing well. Now, in this video, we are actually going to look at a frequently asked question as far as I'm concerned, and the emails and the comments I receive are concerned, and that question relates to the salary requirements for Tier 2 visas. Basically, everybody knows that there is a basic salary requirement for Tier 2 visas, but there's also a salary requirement for Tier 2 visas depending upon your particular job type, and that is what we are going to discuss in this video. So, when do you actually get to this stage? This stage wherein you're actually concerned about the salary level that you require to get a Tier 2 visa for your job type. That is, when you actually have a job offer from a UK Tier 2 Register of Sponsor listed company. That means a company in the UK that is actually listed in the Tier 2 Register of Sponsors. This is an essential requirement for all Tier 2 sponsoring companies. And if you're looking for more information on the Tier 2 Register of Sponsors, or the list of companies in the Register of Sponsors, then I'll provide you a link to another one of my videos where I talk about it in detail. Okay, and then you actually have the job offer, and the company that you're going to be employed with, or you're already employed with, are actually willing to sponsor you, which means they're willing to provide you a COS, which is a certificate of sponsorship. Now that is the most critical piece of paper, that's the most critical document required in the process of a Tier 2 visa application. Now, in terms of minimum salaries, everybody knows that, depending upon your Tier 2 subcategory, like for instance if you're a Tier 2 general, for every Tier 2 subcategory there is a minimum salary requirement in itself. For instance, for a Tier 2 general, the salary requirement is 20,800, so your salary needs to be more than that for Tier 2 general. And then there are salary requirements for Tier 2 intra-company transfer and various other categories as well. But what quite a lot of people aren't aware of, and this is where some consultants can take you for a ride, and it's very important to know this, is that there is a salary level associated with your job type. The type of work that you're doing, the type of job that you're employed in, the category of the job type, and your experience, the amount of experience you have, and your age, very importantly. So there is a salary level required. Now that basic buffer, for instance the 20,800 for Tier 2, they ask you about it, they ensure that you're at that level when you're actually making an application. But before you actually make the application, you need to have a COS, and it is while you're issuing your COS you need to put in the right salary for your job type. I hope that's not confusing, but it will be clear to you during the course of this video. So, where do we look for this salary type as per your job type? The salary level for your job type. And the salary for your job type exists in a document provided by the Home Office. I'll provide the link for the document in the description. And the document is called the Codes of Practice for Skilled Workers, or the COP, as I sometimes call it. And just ignore the some of the wordings here, standard occupational classification codes, etc. I'm just showing you what the document actually looks like, the front of the document. For now, we're going to speak about using this document, but there exists a document wherein they've listed all the job types that exist, and the expected level of salary for each job type. And that's the document, and I suggest that you have a look at the document and revisit the video as many times as you want if anything in the document is not clear to you. That's the place to look. Now, when you go through the document, you will notice that the wording Standard Occupational Classification, or SOC, pops up. Well, Standard Occupational Classification, or SOC, is just another jargon used for job type. That's it. Standard Occupational Classification means job type. And there is a color coding which the Home Office has actually used for different job levels. For instance, if your job is at a PhD level, it is color coded in that darkish blue color, and then if it's at an NQF level 6 or above, it's reddish, and then purple for level 4 and above, etc. It's important to note that your job level for a tier 2 will almost definitely be either the red level or the blue level. I mean, the only way you can get a COS and ultimately a sponsorship, a visa, tier 2 visa, for anything below level red, which is in level purple, etc., is if your job is in a shortage occupancy list. We are not discussing about the shortage occupancy list. I will leave that to another video, upcoming video. But the color coding, signifies the level of your job, and it's only used here to classify your job type. And most often you'd find your job level at blue, the first one, or red, the second one. And in some cases, if you are in the shortage occupancy list, it will be at the purple level. So let's see some of the levels. Let's see level blue, for instance. The blue code for SOCs. Now, in the blue code, you'll see job titles like chemical scientist, biological scientist, biochemists, etc. Now, what happens is that if, for instance, you're a chemical scientist, you would click on the number associated with that particular title, and then it will take you to a page where it will show you your expected job description and the expected salary for that particular job type. And you have to comply by all of that. Your company needs to ensure that the job offered to you is compliant with all of that. Let's look at an example, this time from a red code. For instance, your job is of a civil engineer. Then you go to this section, you scroll down to the red section, basically in the COP document, that the link for which has been provided to you. You scroll down to the red level, you check out what your job title is, and you're a civil engineer, so you click on number 2121, and the document is nicely hyperlinked, so it will take you to the relevant section, and you will get to the section for civil engineers, and it will explain to you the example job types and the related job titles, etc. And then you will see the salary rates for new entrants and experienced professionals. I will get to the new entrant and experienced professional part, but it is important to notice here that to be classified under civil engineer for this particular SOC code, which is 2121, your job title doesn't necessarily have to be civil engineers. It could be any of the others listed there as well. It could be building engineer, it could be highway engineer, petroleum engineer, etc. So if it's one of those, then you come to this this particular section, check that particular title, and then you can use that title. For instance, if you've got a job role which is petroleum engineer, maybe something similar to that, but your company has provided a slightly different title, for instance a petroleum professional, but the job is for a petroleum engineer, then if you happen to come across the document and if you know what you're doing, you can advise your company that, okay, thank you for the job offer, but kindly change the job title into petroleum engineer, and that will help you to get the COS, and then you can put in the right salary. So that's the purpose of this video, to educate people that such a document exists and that you're aware of the salary levels that you are expected to be at if you are hoping to get a tier 2 visa. Right, now let's look at the section that caught your attention, probably: new entrant versus experienced. That is the age/experience factor, as I call it. So basically you notice that a new entrant needs to be paid a lot less than an experienced professional as per the document, and that is true for every salary SOC code that you will see in the document. How do you differentiate them? You would need to actually go to page number 4 of the document, which is and then look under the section thresholds. There you will actually see how a new entrant is classified, and then you'll know if you are a new entrant or if you come under the experienced category. Well, new entrants are basically graduates, and a lot of the times they're graduates switching in to tier 2 from post-study work visas, which no longer exist. So it would be people who are coming to the close of their post-study work visas, because they used to exist, they no longer exist. So, and then you'd also observe point number 4 there when you go through the document, is that there's also an age requirement. So if you're above the age of 25, even if this is your first job, you won't be classified as a new entrant. You will be an experienced worker, so you will be expected to earn as much as the expectation level for an experienced employee is. That's how it is, I'm afraid. And then, so basically, once you understand what job title you're expected to be in, just go through the document and check the required salary level, try and understand if you're a new entrant or experienced, and then you know how much you will need to be paid to get your sponsorship. Now, a couple of things to remember is that if a wrong salary is provided on the COS, which is where this salary document will be used, at the stage where the COS is being issued, if a wrong salary is put in, the COS will be selected, the COS will be approved rather, but when you use the COS for the visa application, the application will be rejected, the application will be refused basically, and then they will clearly provide you information that okay, your application was refused because your job title and your salary don't match in accordance with the codes of practice, the COP document. So what will happen is you will be asked to make a new application, and in the new application you will have to use a new COS. And obviously it is common knowledge that the number of certificates of sponsorship are limited, so no company would like to actually waste these. So it is imperative, it is important, it is critical to ensure that the right salary level has the right the right salary level is provided for the right job type at the COS level, and obviously if they're matching, then at the level of your application, your actual application form for the tier 2 visa, you will obviously be above that level, which is for general visas, which is 20,800, because if your salary is matched in accordance with the COP, then it will obviously meet that criteria anyway. Okay, I know that this isn't a very straightforward video to understand maybe, so if you have any questions, please feel free to use the comment section and fire away with all your questions. I'm here to help you out. Okay, and I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, and I hope you find all of my videos very useful, and I hope you found this particular video very useful. And just another reminder that please subscribe to the channel, like the videos if you like this content, and if you want more content on a regular basis, please support the channel. Thank you.